Hello and welcome. Thank you, Annette, for that beautiful song. This is the Humboldt Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, which we also like to call HUUF. My name is Scarlett Trippsmith, and I will be your technical liaison for today. If this is your first time joining us, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat to everyone. We're so happy that you're here with us. Now, we know that you come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, different backgrounds, but we welcome you and we hope that you find comfort and connection and love here. We ask that if you feel comfortable, please keep your cameras turned on so that we can see all of your beautiful faces. And as you can see, you are muted. However, later after the service, we'll have our virtual coffee hour where you will be able to converse with your fellow community. So also please stick around after the service because we are voting on our new HUUF logo. And let's just give you a little sneak peek of that right now. Oh, nope. Sorry, wrong thing. Anyway, here we are. Bring this up for you guys. Here's a little sneak preview at what our new HUUF logos could look like. So please take a moment to absorb it, kind of get your first glance. You'll have more time later after the service to take a look, but just think about which one you would want to help represent HUUF in the upcoming 2021. All right. So along with that, today during the service, you will be asked to reflect and journal. So please be sure to have a writing utensil and a piece of paper nearby, or feel free to journal electronically if that's what you do. Yeah, so I also want to welcome us into this being the last day of February. And so really honoring this time of leaving out winter and really coming into the spring and welcoming it with self-compassion. For during these times when we cannot safely meet together, these online services are our way of connecting and continuing to keep the mission of our congregation alive and well. It's our UU tradition to take part in sharing the joys and sorrows that weigh on our hearts. In this space, you may feel free to share with us and let us hold you. Today, we have Amy Day taking our joys and sorrows and celebrations. So if you feel so called, please share and send them in the chat to Amy Day. We're glad you're here, joining us and engaging with the work through embracing diversity and empowering those connections. We are committed to fighting for the worth and dignity of every person in our community and out. That is why today we want to acknowledge and really honor the land that we live on as the traditional home of the YingHui people. We want to remind ourselves that we must put our words and our principles into action for the justice of the common good. Let us wake up to this world that we live in, to its beauty and wonder, and to its tragedy and pain. In the words of our friends and colleagues involved in Black Lives Matter, let us wake up, let us stay awake, let us stay woke, as we learn to earn our way into a beloved community. Together, we pledge action to transcend barriers, be they racial, political, economic, social, or religious. We welcome you and thank you for sharing your presence with us today. And now, in this time, and in this place, let us worship together. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Debi Cooper for our chalice lighting and aspiration. Thank you.
Good morning. Today's chalice lighting is by Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And now if you would join me in saying our aspiration. May love be the spirit of this fellowship. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. Now let's hear from Amy and the story for all ages.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I want to just acknowledge the beautiful imperfections that accompany meeting in this format. I am using a device that is not that familiar to me today. So thank you for bearing with us as we do the imperfect but heartfelt work of creating beloved community together. So I invite you just to get comfortable. This is a moment where we just invite you to sit and be receptive with the same energy and responsivity of a child. So thank you for being here with us this morning. This morning's story is Listening with My Heart by Gabi Garcia, illustrated by YingHui, and I'm going to pardon me if I say that incorrectly, and it is published by Skin Me Press. Okay. Esperanza's tummy fluttered as she practiced her lines on the porch. Today was the class play. Waiting for Mama to walk with her to school, she paced back and forth when she spotted a heart-shaped rock. Esperanza picked it up and showed it to Mama as soon as she stepped outside. "I see you found a little treasure," said Mama. Esperanza rubbed its rough surface and felt a twinkle of joy. "Maybe it's a sign." "For what?" asked Mama. She thought about the class play later that afternoon, wondering what it would finally be like in the spotlight. "To put my heart into everything I do," she answered. At that moment, they heard scratching and a soft cry. Esperanza peeked under the stairs and spotted a kitty shaking and shivering. No Mama in sight. She scooped the kitten onto her lap and cuddled her. "She's all alone. I think she's hungry." Esperanza reached for her lunch bag, pinched off a piece of chicken, and offered it to the kitty, who gobbled it up. "Mama, I think the rock is a reminder to spread kindness and love. That's what we do when we listen with our hearts." "I think you're onto something," said Mama. "Can we keep Cleopatra, please?" asked Esperanza, who'd already named the kitty. "Queens are always welcome at our house," said Mama. "If she's still here after school, we'll take her in." At school, Esperanza was more focused on the play than on math or reading. Clutching her script during recess, she noticed Bao sitting alone on a bench. He was new in school this week and didn't speak much English. She wondered if he felt lonely or scared. Esperanza found a soccer ball and kicked it over to him. A smile spread across Bao's face. He stood, popped the ball in the air, then bounced it between his knee and his head a few times. "Dude's got moves," thought Esperanza. They spent recess giggling and making up hand signals. Afterwards, Esperanza borrowed Miss Owen's English-Vietnamese dictionary. She wrote "friend" in Vietnamese, drew a picture of Bao and her, then put it on his desk. Esperanza rubbed the rock in her pocket. Listening with her heart made her feel peaceful inside. Finally, it was time for the performance. It was too late for Bao to be in the play, but he stood at Miss Owen's side as a stagehand. Excitement bubbled as Esperanza waited her cue. Esperanza walked on stage, tripped as she was about to say her first line, and splattered across the stage. When she got up, she forgot her lines, so Miss Owen whispered them to her from backstage. Heat rushed through Esperanza's body as all eyes were glued to her. She wished she could disappear. "I ruined the play," thought Esperanza, rushing off stage as soon as she'd finished her part. "I messed up in front of everyone." She tucked herself in behind some props so no one would see her. Esperanza noticed her body shaking and her face still burning. She took a deep breath and dug the rock out of her pocket. It was cracked and lopsided, just how she felt. Esperanza touched her hand to her heart and felt the disappointment. Bao found Esperanza a few minutes later and handed her a drawing with the word "friend" written above it. Esperanza nodded. She hadn't been treating herself like a friend. Esperanza realized this wasn't the first time she'd been unkind to herself. At the soccer game last weekend, she'd missed the ball that swooshed by her head, and they lost the game. Nice work, a player from the other team yelled as the others laughed. Esperanza thought she'd let her team down and was the worst soccer player in the world. Thinking those thoughts had made her feel worse. At the curtain call, Esperanza reminded herself she hadn't ruined the play. She'd had an accident, and accidents happen to everyone. Listening with her heart wasn't just about giving kindness and love to others. It was about giving it to herself, too. I can be a friend to myself, thought Esperanza. When Esperanza got home, she focused on her favorite things. She zipped down the hill on her bike, then spent the afternoon painting at the kitchen table. She also got the hugs she needed from Mama and some cuddles from Cleopatra. And so here's just a few tools that Debi is going to be bringing us through a little bit more, but just listening with your heart involves naming what you're feeling and knowing that whatever you feel is okay. Listen to your body, notice sensations you're having, and pay attention to how you speak to yourself. When I feel sadness, may I treat myself like the friend I need. May I show love and kindness to myself. When I feel anger, may I treat myself like the friend I need. May I show love and kindness to myself. When I feel anything, may I treat myself like the friend I need. I connect to myself through love and kindness. I connect to others through love and kindness. And I connect to the world through love and kindness. So if you will, join me now as we are joined by a recording of the choir from last year, leading us in our song. So please sing with me in your hearts and homes as the choir leads us.
May love be above you, below you, behind you, and before you. May love come from your lips and from your heart. May love be above you, below you, behind you, and before you. May love be above you, below you, behind you, and before you. May love come from your lips and from your heart. May love be above you, below you, behind you, and before you. May love come from your lips and from your heart. May love be above.
All right. So one of the things that I believe that we do particularly well as a community at HUUF is holding one another and really uplifting one another in times of joy and times of sorrow. And this month of February, we have been focused on how we cultivate and extend and hold one another in this beloved community. So now I invite you to, if you'd like to drop me a joy, sorrow, or concern in the chat, and we will take one of our stones and add it to the bowl, just to signify that there is a space, a loving, compassionate space that we all draw into and create together when we come together like this. And we want to hold you in whatever it is that's coming up in your life right now. So as I turn to the chat, all right. I see some lovely happy birthday wishes. So I just want to say thank you. I feel very, very, very grateful to be in this community and to share this day with all of you. From Debbie and Greg, honoring all the HUUF community who offer meetings, classes, and other ways for us to come together and explore our mission and values. Thank you to every single one of you who offers your time and energy and expertise in that way. From Teresa Morris, my pebble toss, I am grateful for Scarlett, Bridget, and Amy for being an incredible staff for the fellowship. Happy birthday. I'm grateful for your friendship and leadership. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. I'm more grateful for you. From Chip Sharp, thank you to Sina, Beverly, Terry, and Sylvia for helping to display our HUUF and Black Lives Matter banner yesterday from until 1:30 at 4th and V Streets in Eureka. Thank you to everyone who keeps this ongoing banner effort going. We truly appreciate your presence. Debbie wanted to note the passing of her sister's mother-in-law, Mary Kay, a wonderfully spunky woman who will be dearly missed. And so we honor you today. Thank you for sharing that with us, Debbie. From Colleen Broderick, recovered from the second vaccine dose. Hope everyone is going to get their vaccine. I know we have a few of you amongst us who are recovering from that second vaccine. So we are joyful of that. From Sina, my good neighbor is dying. Please wish her an easier exit. Thank you, Sina. And so that's all I see in the chat. So we take this final stone just as a way to signify that there are still joys and sorrows and concerns that weigh on our heart, but that we may not have words for. One final one from Kim Trippsmith. I want to express gratitude for all the friends who helped make masks. We sent 6 boxes of beautiful handmade masks to 6 native reservations, including the Nez Perce, Blackfoot, Colville, and Pecani. Blessings. Beautiful, Kim. Thank you. I invite you all now we are going to shift once more into the next portion of our service. And of course, I don't remember what that is at the moment because I don't have the order of service in front of me, but I'm going to hand it back over to Debbie and to Scarlett. So thank you for joining in this ritual with me.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today. I wanted to do a service on self-compassion because goodness knows it's all too easy to focus on the world around us and ignore what's happening inside. And, you know, no matter who you are, no matter what job you have, we all need to give ourselves more love and comfort, especially now. So who would you say is the harshest critic in your life? And for most, the answer is yourself. Most of us strive to be better people every day. We can set high expectations for ourselves. Yet, what happens when we don't meet those expectations? We are harsh. We kick ourselves when we're down. In fact, we can be our own worst critics. For examples, I'd love to show this brief video. Take it away, Scarlett.
Do you have a critical voice? And if so, what do you find it saying to you?
I definitely have a critical voice. I think everybody does. And I think they all start from when you're a kid. So, you know, I think all the things that my parents said, I hear, but it's normally about not doing a good job.
It's constantly stopping me as I try to complete thoughts or try to make steps forward.
It's a voice that always tells me that I'm not enough, or that I need to do better, or that there's something about me that I have to change.
When you fail or make a mistake, what types of things run through your mind?
I'm not worthy.
everybody's going to see my mistake. Nobody else makes mistakes like I do.
You're stupid. I can't believe you forgot something easy. This was basic. Why are you having so much trouble doing something so simple?
People don't want me around, that I'm uninteresting, boring, and or just too weird for people's company.
It says that I should have done better, and sometimes it says mean words about myself.
It's probably the loudest thing that's usually coming through my head before anything else is at least ringing that failure over and over again.
And let me give you a scenario where a friend of yours comes to you, has made a mistake, and what would you say to that friend?
Well, the first thing I would tell them that it's okay. You don't need to feel all the weight of this.
Most likely you're holding on to this more tightly than anybody else.
This in no way, reflects your character or reflects your ability to do something. Definitely a lot kinder to my friends than I am to myself.
How do you think you would change if you used that same voice that you use towards your friends on yourself during those moments of failure and mistakes?
I think it would be, incredible, because you're not gonna talk to your friends the way that you talk to yourself sometimes. And I think that if you're constantly kind of reassuring yourself and letting yourself know that you are enough, then your thought process will change.
When you treat yourself like you do somebody else, you start feeling better, I think, right away, and you keep it in context much more instead of letting things be blown out of proportion.
I think I would have a lot less anxiety in my day-to-day. I think there would be kind of a weight lifted.
It would definitely make me feel better and happier, because when I usually say, when that voice that says mean stuff in my head, I'm not really happy and sad.
How could the world look differently if we were more compassionate towards ourselves?
I think the world would work better. I think through compassion and self-compassion, we all would just recognize that we're all human.
As a society, we could learn to love one another and show that love on a regular basis. I think that this world would be perfect.
There's a saying that if you love yourself, then you can love others. Well, sometimes I believe it goes in the reverse, and that if you can show that compassion that you show to others and bring it into yourself, I think that's where true growth can happen.
I think it would be magical. That's really the only word for it, magical, to be able to reflect on ourselves from a place of love rather than criticism.
Okay, well, mounting research on the practice of self-compassion reveals that in a difficult situation, those who are gentle, kind, and more accepting of themselves, as opposed to self-critical, are significantly less anxious and depressed. They also enjoy more happiness, optimism, and positive emotions. Dr. Richard Davidson, one of the leading neuroscientists in the world, has studied how compassion training affects your brain. He's concluded that anyone can develop greater compassion and self-compassion, but like everything else, it requires practice. According to Davidson's research, there is no limit to the amount of compassion and self-compassion that we can develop if we dedicate ourselves. In fact, when he studied Buddhist monks who had undergone decades of intensive compassion training, he reported that they had developed a level of inner peace and freedom beyond what most people would believe possible. In other words, the sky's the limit. If you're willing to train yourself in the practices that make up self-compassion, you can transform your life. So how do we begin? Well, first, let's look at the 3 core components of self-compassion by Kristen Neff, who's a PhD. The first component is self-kindness versus self-judgment. A lot of times when we suffer, we take a very cold attitude toward ourselves. Self-compassion involves being warm and supportive with the desire to alleviate that suffering, as opposed to being harshly self-critical. The second component is common humanity versus isolation. Remembering imperfection is part of the shared human experience. Everyone makes mistakes and experiences difficulties at times. Often when something goes wrong, we look in the mirror and don't like what we see. We feel very isolated in that moment, as if everyone else has these perfect lives and it's just us who's flawed and defective. But we are really not alone. The third component is mindfulness versus over-identification. When you make a mistake, it's possible to get lost in the problem solving and trying to identify everything that went wrong. If you're repressing your pain or ignoring it, then you aren't mindfully aware that you're suffering. Without mindfulness, you can't give yourself compassion. You have to say, wait a second, this hurts. This is really hard. This is a moment where I need compassion. And that's where learning to stop and heal comes in. So we're going to do a quick slideshow that talks about that. So, learning to H.E.A.L by Lisa Frank. The first thing you do is you need to halt. Take a breath and just consciously pause. And then you want to expand your awareness. Check in with what you're thinking, feeling, hearing in your mind, your body, and your emotions. Next, you want to allow whatever arises to just be there with compassion. Don't label it, don't criticize it, don't do anything, just allow that it's there. And then you want to lovingly adjust. You want to respond to whatever exists within yourself with compassion. It's okay that I feel this way. It's all okay. So that's How to Heal with Lisa Frank. And now we're going to have the offertory. Thank you, Annette. So we're going to talk again about how does one practice self-compassion? By using self-compassion skills such as reframing self-limiting critical beliefs into self-empowering beliefs. I can do this. I have what it takes. By establishing healthy boundaries. Goodness knows we all need more of those. And using self-compassion mantra or self-compassion affirmations. Or self-compassion journaling, which I'd like to try right now. This activity is for you alone. We won't be sharing with the rest of the congregation. Remember to apply the 3 core components to whichever option you choose. Allow yourself to reflect on these journal prompts. You'll have 3 minutes of silent reflection. We hope you don't feel limited by the time. You're welcome to come back to these prompts whenever needed. So option 1, write down anything that you judged yourself for this last week. Bring awareness to any painful emotions that arose due to that self-judgment. And as you write about how you felt, try to be accepting and non-judgmental about your experience. Option 2, imagine a difficult time that you experienced. Try not to belittle it or over-dramatize it. Just try and see it for what it is. Now, write the ways in which your experience connected you with the larger human experience. This might mean acknowledging that being human means being imperfect and that all people have these sort of painful experiences. Option 3, write yourself some kind, understanding words of comfort. Let yourself know that you care about yourself, adopting a gentle, reassuring tone. Practicing these 3 components of writing will help organize your thoughts and emotions and will encode them into your memory. If you keep a journal consistently, your self-compassion practice will become even stronger and translate more into daily life. I should have gotten a bell. We're going to have our 3 minutes of silence now.
When your day is long and the night is yours alone. When you're sure you've had enough of this life, hang on. Don't let yourself go. 'Cause everybody cries and everybody hurts sometimes. Sometimes everything is wrong. Now it's time to sing along. When your day is night alone. If you feel like letting go, if you think you've had too much of this life, hang on. 'Cause everybody hurts. Take comfort in your friends. Everybody hurts sometimes. Sometimes.
Okay, so now we're just going to go over a couple of quick affirmations for self-compassion. Number 1, I accept the best and worst aspects of who I am. Changing is never simple, but it's easier if I stop being hard on myself. It's okay to make mistakes and forgive myself. I deserve compassion, tenderness, and empathy from myself. I release myself with forgiveness from today and move forward with self-love tomorrow. Every day is a new opportunity. I won't let self-doubt or judgment hold me back from the future. I forgive myself and accept my flaws because no one is perfect. I am not the first person to have felt this way. Because in the end, all we can do is strive to do our best each and every day. On occasion, we won't meet our own expectations. When this happens, ask yourself this: if I called my best friend today and told them what happened, how would they respond? Today, be your own best friend. If you're feeling down, be kinder to yourself. Remind yourself that it's okay. We are all human. Now, the closing words from Swami Kripalananda. My beloved child, break your heart no longer. Each time you judge yourself, you break your own heart. So we need to go from here in peace. We're a little early today, so.
All right, moving into the less scripted portion of our time together as we leave this place. We invite you all to stick around as we will have time to vote on a new logo that some beautifully creative people in our fellowship have put together for us to vote on. And so for now, we invite you to extend your hands across the screen as a way to just uphold that we are connected to one another. We are for one another. We are with one another in spirit, and hope to be soon-ish again in person. You need to stop, please. So we invite you now to lift your voices, lift your hands as we exit this space together. Go from here in peace, go in love. Go from here in peace, go in love. Go from here in peace, go in love, go in peace. Shalom, salam alaikum, blessed be, ashe, aho. Thank you all for joining us today. May you carry the light of this fellowship with you as you exit this space and move back out into your day. Thank you for being here. And please stick around for the coffee hour.
Thank you, everyone. We are so glad that you are here. And if you've never done a Zoom poll before, I'm going to walk you through it right now. But please just take a moment to just really enjoy all these beautiful pieces of art that people have dedicated to HUUF. And and all of these are also on the website if you want to take a look at them again. And we're totally gonna, even the ones that don't get voted in, we'll still put on the website for a beautiful decoration because we want to honor everybody's art. And if you ever have any art that you want to come send our way, or anything, pictures of HUUF you want to put on the website, send it to me and I'll get it there. So, and what's going on in the chat? Oh, what was our old logo? It's like a red chalice thing. Here, let's see if I can bring it up for you guys. Well, that's just taking so long. Sorry guys, trying to get everything done here. I didn't think about showing you guys the old one. I thought everybody just knew. Thanks again so much. This is all about self-compassion, talking to myself as a loved one. You're doing great, Scarlett. You did everything that you could to the best of your ability. Okay.
That's what I'm telling myself, because we ended early and it's okay. It's okay.
Totally. And I appreciate this time. So now that we've all had some time to take a look and pick out some of our favorites, pick one. Pick your favorite one. Okay. I can't show you our old logo. It was red and very UU. It's pretty much the same as the UUA logo. It's very UU logo-esque. But this is more meaningful and localized, so I like it.